The AFL Awards are tonight, and I'm sure that the All-Australian team, once it is announced, is going to be a cause of much controversy amongst footy fans, where even if you get 8 people in a room, they're not going to agree with all of the punters. But before I inevitably bitch and moan about what's to come from that panel of experts, I thought I would put my team together so I can at least back up what I think in this video. I hope you enjoy. This video is sponsored by Capital Edge Australia. More about them at the end of the video. Let's get into it. Here is the 22 that, if it was purely up to me, would be getting Blazers this year. Let's go. In case you haven't heard, the subscriber count has been going up really well the last couple of months, and I cannot thank you enough for jumping on board. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, go click that button as I'm talking, and let's get that number up. 1750 is what I'm hoping for, halfway between, of course, 1500 and 2000 before grand final day, and of course I'm aiming for 2000 subscribers before we tick over to 2024. Fingers crossed. There is just a mammoth of you guys coming on board, and I appreciate that mammoth amount of you guys coming on board, I should say. Not really trying to manifest a mammoth here at Daz Talks Footy, but hey, who knows what can happen on this channel. Shut up, Daz, and get to the team. Yeah, okay, that's fair. Let's do that. Full back line, James Sicily, Harris Andrews, Tom Stewart. Now, Sicily picks himself. Andrews, I think, picks himself because Sam Taylor's not even in the squad. I know that playing 15 and missing 8 games is going to have people who, even on Twitter, have been sort of up in arms about. But if you're picking the best team, I think you need to pick the best fullback. Sam Taylor's been the best fullback. The best ability is availability. I understand all that. But, look, he's played 2/3 of the year. I would have rewarded that, but Harris Andrews had a very good year. James Sicily picks himself. The fact this isn't back-to-back Blazers is still disgraceful. And I contemplated long and hard about Cal Wilkie v Tom Stewart here, and I arrive at the theory that Tom Stewart did not have a career best year. Cal Wilkie did. But just because Tom Stewart didn't have a career best year doesn't mean he's not in the year-end best team. Now, if you're sitting there fuming because you think Cal Wilkie should be in over Tom Stewart, I don't blame you. The gap between picking these two players, was minimal. A millimetre, honestly. I like Stewart's numbers a little bit better. I like Wilkie's one-on-one defense a little bit better. You know, do you want $1 or 2 50-cent coins is basically what it comes down to. Stewart, for mine, gets the nod. I'm sorry, St Kilda fans, and I apologise to you in the last video, but you are going to be well represented very shortly, I promise you. But Cal Wilkie, very unlucky to miss out. Tom Stewart, I think, deserves the blazer. Halfback line, Jack Sinclair, Darcy Moore, Nick Dacos. Need I explain? All 3 of them are stars. All 3 of them have been amazing. All 3 of them have played halfback. 2 of them have played halfback / ending the year in the midfield. I don't think you can put anyone else here. Now, there might be one player from a side that is kind of in the middle of the country, a bit south of the middle of the country. Don't worry, we'll get to him. Don't stress. But these 3 for mine pick themselves. Centreline, Errol Goulden, Marcus Bontempelli, and Josh Dacos. Again, whoever you put in this sort of centre spot is, I just think, who's been the best midfielder this year, in my opinion, and I'll reiterate that when we get to the ruck spot in a little bit, but I think the Bont's been the best midfielder this year, therefore I think he deserves the centre spot. That's just me. If we agree on the midfield, but you put a different player in the centre spot, I'm not going to turn that down. But if the All-Australian selectors do not pick the 2 best wingmen in the game on the wings, we need a new selection panel, or we just need to get rid of the All-Australian team. I don't think we should get rid of the All-Australian team. An overhaul of the selectors, if this doesn't happen, yes, needs to occur, for sure. It just does. Goulden and Dacos have been amazing. What more needs to be said? Nothing, really. Half forward line, Connor Rozee, Taylor Walker, Zach Butters. I know. Daz, you're being a hypocrite. You've often said that we shouldn't put guys out of position in this team. I think Connor Rozee gets away with it a little bit because he's kicked 14, 15 goals for the year in Port Adelaide wins. That justifies it a little bit for me, and Zach Butters is purely a cheat. You could put Christian Petrarca in this spot. I get it, he played more forward, probably should have done that on reflection, but I'm not here to get the 22 guys in their exact spots. And hey, if Zach Butters is in the starting midfield and a guy like Petrarca is on the half-forward line, that's not really a loss to me. But Taylor Walker needs to be in the centre half-forward spot. Just kick the second most amount of goals. He's beautiful, long range. It's been a career best year for Tex. The other two should be in the side anyway. Nothing more really needs to be said, I don't think. I think this line and the last one have been pretty self-explanatory with, of course, the Butters-Petrarca thing, his personal opinion. The full forward line, I've got Toby Green, I've got Charlie Curnow, and I've got Nick Larkey. Yep, we're going back to the 90s, people, where we've got a tall forward in a forward pocket. Now, it's not as stupid as giving Dustin Martin a forward pocket spot a few years back, and I understand that someone that might be crying out for, say, a Charlie Cameron in this spot, I completely understand as well, but for Toby Green, he is the captain of this side for me as well. I don't think anyone has been more important as a skipper in their wins this year than Toby Green has, and I think Darcy Moore and Marcus Bontempelli do have the right to say the same thing, but Toby's stats during GWS wins has to be seen to be believed. It's absolutely incredible what he's been able to do and what a turnaround it has been, and I don't really know what to say. Nick Larkey kicked 71 goals in a really shit side. If that doesn't get rewarded, then what the hell? He should win North Melbourne's Best and Fairest Award ahead of Sheasel. Should be in the All-Australian side ahead of a Charlie Cameron for mine. I really love this forward line. I love this starting, 15 so far, but let's round out this midfield, shall we? Ruck line, Rowan Marshall, Christian Petrarca, and Caleb Sarong. Yep, Rowan. Now, this is going to sound a little bit hypocritical when I get to the Caleb Sarong bit here, but I am a big believer in if you're tossing up between two guys who play the exact same spot and you can't push one to another bit, I don't believe Rowan Marshall should be on the field in a forward line position. But the fact that Rowan Marshall has been in what we thought was a bad side that turned out to be amazing does deserve the nod over a guy who has got wildly similar numbers to, that is in a very good team that underperformed. I am rewarding Rowan Marshall based on what he was able to do to a winning team here. Christian Petrarca, like I said, can swap with Zach Butters here if you like. I've got no issue with that at all, but Caleb Sarong's the one that I think is going under the radar a little bit. Usually in either starting midfields or around the fringes, there is a guy from a team who's gone pretty damn bad, and Nick Larkey also applies in this spot as well, that has just blown us away. Caleb Sarong's had more disposals than anyone else this season, and for the first time in a long time, when you think of like your Tom Mitchells and even your Jack McRae's there for a while, it feels like he has been really damaging as the guy who's had more disposals than anyone else. I don't feel Lachie Neale has deserved that starting spot, given that sort of 6-week mull that he went through there a little bit, and I think he's probably been of that sort of top 6 that we expect to be there in the Brownlow. Your Marcus Bontempelli, Lachie Neale, Zach Butters, Nick Dacos, these guys. Caleb Sarong is in that conversation for absolute certain, and I think he deserves his due credit here. So that's my starting 18. The 4 guys on the bench, I had such a difficult time narrowing it down, so I'm going to talk about those 4 and put the graphic up, talk about some unlucky guys as well, and then I'm going to let you good people go. But who fill the last 4 spots on my All-Australian team? Well, let's find out. Interchange, Dawson, Houston, Neale, English. 3 out of the 4 pick themselves. If Jordan Dawson, Dan Houston, and Tim English aren't in your All-Australian side, I struggle to comprehend how you've got there, as much as I am an appreciator of differing opinions and things like those. I can't wrap my head around that. Now, Lachie Neale could be swapped with a guy like Charlie Cameron, could be swapped with a guy like Cal Wilkie, could be swapped by Dusty if you barrack for Richmond, even though he did have a good back end of the year, but we can't just forget that for the first 10 weeks, sometimes it looked like he was going to retire on the spot. That should be taken into account. These guys unfortunately miss out. So guys like Cal Wilkie, Charlie Cameron, and these guys do miss out, which is really unfortunate. The one that sits in my guts really badly is Cal Wilkie. I would love to include him in this side, but I just can't. So that's it, guys. If you want a refresher, they're going to start coming up on the screen here. But that's it. What do you think? Comment below. Let me know. And a huge thank you to Capital Edge Australia for sponsoring this video. And they are offering a September special by saving $3,000 on your fees throughout the entire process. Of course, Capital Edge Australia educating everyday Australians to break into the real estate investment property market. And if you mention Daz Talks Footy after your property's been selected and you go ahead with the build, you're going to get $3,000 off, which is going to be awesome savings for you guys to use on things like your furnishings or as a celebration after you have bought your house. So go check out Capital Edge Australia with the details on the screen. Hope you enjoyed the team. Enjoy the bye weekend with whatever it is you might be doing. Hopefully I'm going to go check out Box Hill on the weekend. But hey, hope you have a fantastic weekend. I'll see you next week. Goodbye.